It's Deb from Project Life, Deb's Way again. Decided today to do my video outside in my garden, so excuse some of the sun shading on my face, but unfortunately the light inside is not very good at the moment, so here I am. We've just come back from a trip from doing the North and South Islands of New Zealand, so I've decided this time to do a travel theme, and it's using the Ciao Bella Under the Tuscan Sun papers. And our first sheet is there, and the second part of the layout I've decided to do a really nice little flap pocket. I have included just for mine, but not in the tutorial, a second flap pocket because I had some of the red boats and it doesn't really go with the colour theme that I'm using, so I've sort of hidden them in a flat pocket. So there we have the layout that we will be doing. I will do the layout from start to finish, and I will give you pictures of the layout and the ephemera and things and papers that I have used. So let's get on with the peek of the layout and also then with the tutorial. So let's go and have some fun. As promised, here's a view of the layout that this process video will be about, just so that you can have a look at the photographs and everything else. We will make the cards from start to finish, so that you'll have the full layout done if you follow this process video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like my channel, as that way you will get a notification when I put new layouts up for you. So let's get on with making our cards. To do this layout, I have used all the mats 6x4 in craft, just to make the cards and that pop out a little bit more. So, and I have also done all of my edges with distress ink, and I've really made them quite heavy this time, so you can gunge these up as much as you would like, because you need those papers to stand out on your card. Now this one was cut from one of the sheets, and I used this whole sheet of this paper, and this is a 5 3/4 by 4 3/4 card. So I've just taken 1/4 inch off the top of a 6x4 and 1/4 inch off of the side to give me that border all the way around. So I'll put that onto that card centered. Now from the script paper, which was from a different line, this was from 13 Arts and paper I'd left over, but I liked to add a little bit of a difference of color, so I actually found this sheet, and this is a 3 by, I'm just checking my sizes here, it is a 3 by 5 that I've cut, and once again that is going to go centered onto my card. So now once that's done, that basically is your base card to put all your ephemera on. Now this piece here I cut from one of the sheets, and it was this sheet here. I just cut this particular one out, and I also cut this little piece here from this sheet, and that's the only bit I used of this particular sheet. So that is going to go down in the bottom, centered like so. And once again I have edged all of this, so pop that sort of into the center, but don't, whatever you do, attach the top, just attach the bottom so you've got this loose, because I have got some of my favourites, so you'll see me use these all the time, the Tim Holtz tickets, or if you've got other tickets you can use those as well. I love this stamp set, I use it a terrific amount. Now if your won't go, just cut a little bit off, and I'm going to put that on the slant like so, and then I've got this other stamp here, ticket, going to layer that slightly lower, and I've just stamped a saying onto a 1.5 inch circle, and these are all put in flat. I'm going to pop that, and I need, with this one, just give it a bit of a edging so that it tends to pop up and shows itself. Now this is a little die cut I had, and it comes with two, one on the top and one at the bottom. So I like this because I can actually, it just gives you that little bit of extra layer. And I am going to add some gunge to that bronzy paper, and for this I will use some glue, like so, and you can actually stick this down. Now I do have a couple of snippets which I seem to have misplaced. So I've just found those snippets, and these are like all the little numbers that you can get. You can get numerous stamps with these on, or you can actually download some digital sets for snippets. Once again, it's a quite a common thing with Tim Holtz stamps that you get these. So I'm just going to place these to add interest. And overlap them. Now with this once again is just a stamp that I have done in a square, and I've just backed it on this paper that I used for this out of some of the spare that was left, and I have put that onto foam tape. And there we have our first card for this layout done. This is card number 2, and it's quite a simple one. I've just got my 6x4 craft base card, and then I cut my photo mat, which was 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, which of course is just 1/4 inch off the top and 1/4 inch off the side of a 6x4 to give you that little bit of a border around. So what you would have to do is you would have your 6x4 photograph, and you would just trim off enough that you would see a little bit of your black border all the way around your photograph. So there we have card 2 finished. This card's an easy one too. This actual whole layout is quite a simple concept. So all I did was I used one of these 6x4 with the borders, but I'm going to be turning mine upside down like this on the card, and I've really gunged around the outside to make it stand up from that craft base card. So we'll just put that right in the middle, and once again I have just taken off enough off of that card to get it centered. So it roughly is a 5 3/4 by 4 3/4 card. Now I have cut this just to fit inside that square, because I didn't want to show any of this because it's upside down. So we'll pop that right inside, and the measurement for that is 3.5 by 3 3/8 roughly. You may have to trim it down a little bit more to make it fit, but that's the size that I used. Making sure my print is the right way. We'll just pop that down. Now before I put a strip across here, which is just some washi tape, which I put on green card to give me that greeny backing, or you could actually find a stamp with a bit of green card that you could use for this. You need to pop your photo mat, which is a 3x4, in the center of that. So put your card down first before you put anything else down, because that everything else gets built around your photo card. So we'll pop that right in the center of that square. Now this was just a stamp I had with a border, so I just put smiles inside, and only put your sticky on the top, because I haven't got my photographs in. I have to be able to slip my photograph underneath that. So I'm going to put that up the top, and as you can tell, you can get your photograph in there when you actually find what photograph you're going to use. So now I can actually start building up all that I'm going to put on the bottom of this card, which of course this strip goes on first, and it goes the full width of that card, so it is 4 inches by about 1/2 inch, and it just adds to the card. Now once again I have got these tags, and I didn't have any tops, so to make that more prominent I just got a gold pen and just do a circle around the hole. Now once again, you don't want this sticking to your photograph, so as you can see I've just put 2 bits of tape on the bottom, so that it, and I'm going to stick that slightly off center, and as you can tell you can get your photograph underneath that ticket. Now I've got a nice number 7 to use out of my snippets. That's going to go down in the bottom corner. And I found this in my stash, and I thought moments to remember, just enjoy, and I've got that on foam tape. And just popping it there, and there we have card number 3 ready to pop our photograph on there. Card number 4, I have once again got my 6x4 craft base mat. Then I cut a 5 3/4 by 4 3/4 card in the script, and I've distressed the edges again, and we just need to pop that into that card centered. I then cut from this card a piece that is 2 inches by 5.5 inches. I just wanted a piece to give some dimension to that card, and as you can tell, I've really grunged those edges. So now we will pop our viewer circle into this corner, because I want the photo mat to be sitting I'm going to pop that on first. Now this is a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so it will fit a true 3 by 4 photograph. And I'm going to just pop that at the top here, getting all my little angles correct. So I wanted that to measure up. This I wasn't, and as you can sort of see, it just gives you the correct borders when you do that. This ticket I have got on foam tape, and I have distressed the edges, and that's just going to go just over the photograph there, and that will look absolutely fantastic once it has a photograph on there. Now we're on to our smaller cards that's on our layout, and I have just done my 3 by 4, and this is 3 7/8 by 2 7/8, so it just gives you that tiny little bit of a border all the way around. And as you can see, I've got that really crooked, so just center that up into this, and there you have your 2 photo cards. These are what I class as my eye candy cards for the smaller 3 by 4s. So I've got 5A, I've got your 3 by 4 base card. I have cut this one, and it is 3 7/8 by 2 7/8, just to give that tiny border. I have distressed the edges again, so that goes down onto the base card centered. Now this was the writing script piece, and I've cut that at 3 1/4 by 2 1/4, so that it goes straight into the middle of this, and this is going to be my title card. So I am doing a New Zealand holiday, so I will put New Zealand and the year on this once I've finished doing my video. And I've got a nice film strip piece here, which I will just use some glue to attach down, if I can get my glue working. Just a thin bead will do it. I'm just going to place that crooked onto my card, make sure it's well and truly attached down, and get all the excess glue off. And then the true story was just a stamp on a round piece of card I found. So we are going to pop that over in the corner here to give me room for my title. So there's my title card done. Now the same applies for this one. I have got my 3 by 4 base card. I have got my 3 7/8 by 2 7/8 green card, which I cut this from the piece of paper that had the lady, this one here. I cut the corner piece off here, and this is what I have used here. So I'm going to lay that down into my base card. Centered. Now for this one, I've got a lovely saying here, which is just going to go up into this corner. I actually made this with some on Photoshop and put a stamp on it. So I made it the correct size with just a white circle, and then I printed it off, and then just got one of my stamps and stamped. So I'm just going to lay this side down first because I want this underneath, which of course you've seen me use these before. They're viewer circles. Just pop that there. Now I've got some digital image I used with this of a camera, so just find something in your stash and just pop your camera on there. So there we have your card 5A and 5C. We're on to our next side, which is our left hand side of our layout. We will now be going to our landscape 6x4s. Now how I did my tickets, I just got a cream piece of cardstock, I got a script stamp, stamped it, and then all I did was I got my hole puncher. I punched a hole into the center and did the old just snip 2 pieces off to make them the same. Now if you can't just snip it eyeballing it, you can actually get the piece that you cut off, you can actually pop that onto the card and then cut, and you will have matching sides for your card. And then all you need to do is just stretch your edges with that, and that's a very quick way of making your tags, and it saves you a bit of money when you're actually doing your layouts. So how I've constructed this card, I have got once again my 6x4 base card. I've got my 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 script paper. And you put that centered, and I've distressed all the edges. Now I have got here a piece of card which is 3.5 by 3 3/4, because I want that to go on the side here, and I think I want the leaf at the bottom, so I'm going to just twist that around until I'm happy with the placement, and pop that in with the same amount of border way around. And I've got a 3x4 photo mat which I will pop onto my, which is going over this side. So I sort of want a nice bit of that border showing. Just pop that on once you're happy, making sure that you leave this bit loose. This is where your tag is, and once again I've just got my gold marker to do my circle, and that will be tucked underneath. Unfortunately with this one I had 12 by 12 papers, and I did find that the graphics with this was a bit large to use some of the graphics, so that's why I've had to make my own tags and things. Now this one here, once again, just put your tape just at the top so that you can pop that up there over the top of your photograph to carry through on the other side, so you have a few of these on your layout with different words, and it just carries through your layout to make it all look the same. Now I've got a couple of snippets to pop onto my tickets. I'm going to jam that one in there, and I'll just put the number 4 on the top just to give it a bit of, take some of the plainness off of that tag. And there we have our first card for our right hand side. We're up to card 7, which once again, your 6x4 base card, your 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 base card, and this was the other card that I cut from the top here. It's just cut here because I ran out of that particular sort of coloured card, so I just had to use what I had left on my papers. So for this one, I'm going to put the pink over the other side, and to hide, because I didn't want any florals in this, which is very unusual for me, I know, but I actually got some of that script card, which measures 2.5 by 3.5, so I could just cover the pink up and just leave the green. So my true 3x4 photo mat here, unfortunately I've just come back from holiday, so I haven't really had time to actually do all my photographs, which I'll do once I get these cards actually made up. So I'll lift this up a little bit because I need to get things underneath there. So once again, I've got one of those tickets, and I've made this one about 1.5 inches, and I've made it longer. So I'm going to pop that there. Pop that down. I've got one of those circles. I then want to pop that in. So we just pop that up like that. I've got a snippet. Put a bit of tape on that. That onto you, and then of course I've got the film strip, which I will just glue down. Just get my glue going, which isn't cooperating for me tonight for some reason. Now I'm just going to tuck that underneath over the top, then I can stick my photo mat down. There we have card number 7 to add to our collection. Card number 8 is a little bit more difficult because I have done a flap card for card number 8. So to do this card, I have got my base card, my 6x4 base card. Now, because of the way that the Project Life folders work, it always has the opening up at the top, so it's very easy to do flaps. Now I've got my 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, which I've distressed the edges, and that will go onto my card. Now I will build the base card first, and then I will do my flap. Because of this, I only want a strip all the way across, which I cut out of my script paper, and this is 2 inches by 6, and I'm just going to pop that sort of not in the middle, just slightly down from the middle. I've got a true 3x4 photo mat. So when you choose a photograph for this, just pop that on with a little bit of a border there, like that. So there's your base card. Now I will be doing a flap which goes here over the top. So when you do your photograph, you want some people or something here with just some scenery here, and then you've got enough there to put some writing of whatever you want. Now I have got a tab for the bottom, which I've done 3 of these tabs. This one here, this one, and this one is the front, and this is for the back of the card. Now my fold mechanism, I have done a true fully across, because it's not it can have this flap fully across because it will work. Normally I cut my flap slightly smaller because your mechanism works better, but I always like to do a separate fold card, not incorporate it into my cards. So what I will be doing here, I have got the top base card, and I haven't distressed these yet until I get them onto these cards. I've got 2 pieces of tape there to make sure it's well done, and leave it just a fraction down from that fold to give your paper room to fold over. As you can see, there's just that little bit of a gap there. So now I have got my second card, which I want to attach to the back, which hides this folding mechanism. Now, because this isn't in a plastic folder, I have taped all of my edges of my cards, which you know I don't do very often, but this is a case more tape is better than less tape. So making sure that your print is correct when you flap it open. So you need your writing virtually upside down. So what I will do here, I will join my card at the bottom and lay it down. And as you can see, that folds really nice and flat now. Then what I will do now is I will take off the 2 pieces of tape to attach the mechanism to the back. Now to do that, before you lay it down, work out where you want that card to go. And I want it just over a bit. So then I will attach that down. And there we have a fully working flap. Now the tabs is going to go here, so that somebody can just flick it up. Now I am going to put tape on both the top. Really tape it well down because it's going to get a lot of use. So make sure that's well and truly taped. Take your tape off and pop it where you want it on your card. Now because we have got two cards underneath here, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue, extra glue on that. I am going to pop the bottom of the extra one of these in here. Needs a little bit more cut off. You just have to play with this one until you get it right. Then I'm going to put that little bit there, and that will give you a nice flat surface to pop your other tab on. Now if you wanted to put a word stamp on that, that's fine, you could just put a word on there, but I have got a card here with remember this, so I actually didn't really want that on there. So I'm just going to distress the edges of the remember this very quickly. And then that folds over like that. Now you can get your distress ink and just make sure there we are. So just distress your edges, and of course don't forget to do the top as well, and then do the inside. And as you can see, you can just flap that up with your finger. Now for this, all I have done is I've put this particular little calendar, which doesn't have the year, but you can actually circle the dates. Now I'm going to pop that in the middle. Then I'm going to glue my little clipboard so that it matches the one that is on the front cover. Pop your clipboard on. Then I have got my film strip. And there we have a fantastic flat card with a journaling spot for you. So that's card number 8 done. Card number 9 is just an ordinary photo mat with your base card 6x4 with a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 photo mat, and you just pop one on top of the other and center it, and there's your card done. So here we go for card 10A and 10B. Remembering that in Australia we can't get the pockets for the 3x4, so we have to do ours on a 6x4, but make it look like they're two separate 3x4s. So what I've got here is my photo mat, which is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Just pop that on with even borders. So there is your photo mat. Now for the other side, if you're lucky enough to have those folders, what you can do with yours is just cut it down the middle and pop it into your folders. Now I've got the same size here for my other card, just a green, and I just took this out of some of the papers I had left over. And for this one, it's an eye candy card, so we will be doing some tickets, some tags, a camera wonder, a strip, and some snippets. So what I'm going to do here is I will gradually build my layers up. I've got a piece of this so it matches the other side, and I'm just going to put that as though it's a full 3x4 card. The next piece that goes down is, once again, this is, I think, a Tim Holtz ticket that I've done, and I've just put some stamping onto it with a snippet, and I did it out of old book paper. You know, sometimes you get those blank pages with old books. They're fantastic. So we're just going to stick that one flat. Then I'm going to put my other ticket here that I've made. Sorry about this, I thought I'd taped everything, but obviously I haven't. So we're just building our layers up. Then I want my wonder. Lay that down. I've got my snippet to go on my ticket. And then I've foam mounted the same camera as over on the other side, but just slightly smaller, onto my card. And there we have our eye candy card and our photo mat. So here's card 10C and 10D, our lucky last cards. So once again, exactly the same as I did for 10A. I have got my little photo mat here, and I'm just going to take my tape off, pop that down. And I've got exactly the same size here, which is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 in my base card colour, making sure my print's the right way, and just pop that down. So there is our base card to be working with. Now I've got a couple of tickets which I am going to pop down first. And then I have got my tags I've made. Now I just wanted to introduce some of this into this card, because I seem to have not had much of this in the rest of this side of the layout. So you can always just add a little strip into one of your cards, and it just brings that colouring back in. Now this here, I'm going to use foam mounting tape. Here we go, and just pop that right in the middle, and there's a very simple card done, and that is our full layout finished. Now if you do want cutting dimensions for this, I do have on my Project Life Deb's Way group the measuring dimensions for all of these cards if you want to check that out if you're making it yourself. So I'll give you a full picture and everything else of all the finished layout and etc. Well, here's the finished layout done. I hope you followed this process video from start to finish, and until the next one, keep crafting. Bye.